Assalamu alaikum. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'een. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim ghairil maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي أشدد به أزري وأشركه في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Welcome friends, inshallah we will continue with the words. We are studying the 22nd word, first station, page 288, and this was a reflection on the verse, in the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. So God sets forth parables for men, so that they may bear them in mind. So see the meaning behind the parables, see what they mean to me in my practical life. Such are the similitudes which we propound to men that they may reflect. So this is Quran section 14, verse 25. The other one is Quran section 59, verse 21. So such are the similitudes which we propound to men that they may reflect. And we discussed this first few paragraphs, which is a comparison on belief and unbelief. Basically, two men talking. One is saying that it's very difficult to me to recognize him when all the signs, as it says, similitudes, as we observe, are out there for us. Not them, they're not just there for no reason, but they are for us to use our human senses, our consciousness to recognize who is behind those signs. So the friend was looking for an easy way out, to remain indifferent towards him. There is no advantage in it at all. Yes, that's the lazy and easy way, where the civilization, as we discussed last time also, was talks about the confused objects of chance. That's one view of seeing the world. So we will go into some of the proofs as the author has written and see what the proofs are, basically looking at the universe and seeing the signs in creation and acknowledging them, realizing them to see what they point to. So the first proof: come and look carefully at everything around you. A hidden hand is working within all these works. So a hidden hand is working within all these works. So we don't see actually something working, but in the existence of the changes that are going on in the universe, the things that are there existing and changing at the same time. We don't see an artist actually physically doing it, but the changes are happening, and we need to wonder how are these changes happening? And I think this hidden hand could be a translation of ghaib, the Arabic word ghaib. So something that we can conclude about, that there must be a being that is responsible for the change that we see. For something which has not even an ounce of strength. So there's a footnote. What is he talking about? Something which does not have even an ounce of strength. This alludes to seeds which bear trees on their heads. So a seed which does not even have an ounce of strength. Something as small as a seed is raising a load of thousands of pounds. Yeah, comes out a shoot, a plant, and then a tree. It's from that small seed. It's unbelievable, incredible how this universe is. And something that does not have even a particle of consciousness. This indicates delicate plants like the grapevine, which themselves cannot climb or bear the weight of fruits. So throwing their delicate arms around other plants or trees and winding themselves around them, they load themselves onto them. So the grapevine or even the tomato plant, they need some support. And how do they actually get that support of the other trees, other things in creation? So even a particle of, and something that does not even have a particle of consciousness, is performing extremely wise and purposeful works. So this whole arrangement of bearing the load of the fruits of the grapes in the grapevine by clinging on or hanging on to something else, who arranges that? Wise and purposeful works. That means they are not working by themselves, which is the confusion in this civilization, seeing everything as if they're working by themselves. But that a hidden possessor of power is causing them to work. There is an agent behind the working that I am observing, the change that I'm observing. There's a source of existence behind it, source of change. If they were independent, it would necessitate all the works which we see everywhere in this land being miracles and everything to be wonder-working marvel. And that is nonsense. How can they be independently working by themselves with such miracles that we are observing? So that is the first point. And if anybody wants to share anything, you can please go ahead and unmute yourself and share at any point. So it's a careful observation of everything and seeing how things are coming into existence, how they are changing, how they're organizing. Because by themselves, they have nothing to, no power, no will, no knowledge. They don't know the other creation out there, but still they are communicating and engaging with them. All right, second proof.
Before going into the second proof, excuse me.
Go ahead, Brother Ali.
Nowadays, people don't say that the things are raising the loads, carrying the loads, doing the things. They say, as known to everyone actually, DNA codes are there. So according to the codes, the cells act and develop or improve or function, whatever the word they use. Actually, they are not clear about it. Now, the author of the book that we are reading, which says, and a man who has been to a desert. So in the desert, he has seen nothing at all but a single huge, magnificent building, palace-like. And because he didn't see who made it, no one is there to claim the palace. And he goes into it. How come this palace happened to be here? And investigates. At the end, he finds the blueprint. He finds the blueprint, plan of the sarai. And he checks the blueprint plan and sees exactly what the plan shows, exactly how the palace is. Every single being there, and every single piece. Oh, the man says, in his simple analogy, I understood now. This plan made the palace. Nowadays, if I am wrong, please warn me. Those people explain everything according to the structure of the DNA are doing the same thing. DNA is using it, but the only difference is the author's example is static and lifeless. That is so obvious that it is wrong, and no one can really buy into it. They said, it is impossible, the plan will do it. But DNA is alive, and the cell is acting, seems to be acting like me. I like this example. Everybody can really relate it to himself. Look, I am acting. I am alive. And plus, I have free will. Plus, I have intelligence, consciousness. So I am deciding. I am deciding about free will. I'm choosing. Although DNA is alive, but not like me. It doesn't have a choice, free will. It doesn't have knowledge. It doesn't have intelligence, although they are claiming now, the materialist people helplessly claiming that I think the matter has it is consciousness, because it seems to be, it is acting consciously. Yes, because they don't act consciously. They are created by a conscious agent. Of course, instead of saying created by a conscious agent, they say they seem to be conscious beings.
Is that my conclusion, to see them things as conscious beings?
Yeah, that is what appears to be. They seem to be conscious beings. But in fact, taking myself as an example, I am a conscious being, and I know consciousness is given to me by my creator. My material side elements in my existence cannot be the source of existence of my consciousness. I am experiencing this. So going back to DNA, they cannot be the matter, cannot be the source of existence of consciousness in themselves. So do they have free will? They seem to be, but is there any sign that they have free will, or they are just following the order as they are given existence that they are created? We have to decide. We have to see and reason about it. We cannot just easily say that God created it, but at the same time, we cannot easily simply say that matter is acting on its own. No, for example, although I may seem to be acting on my own, but I cannot go beyond the limitations of my choice, which operates only within the order. I cannot choose anything out of the order of the universe. And I have to obey the order. And the material side of the cell has to obey the order. It means we have to question what is the source of the order. I have to question in my existence, what is the source of the order? I cannot attribute the source of the order to anything, because everything in the universe is subject to the order. Who is subjugating them to the order? I have to ask. Why they are subject to the order? So what is the source of the existence of the order? That is a very human question. We can and we must use the creation, and especially my own life experience, and understand that I need to be created with these qualities. So does the DNA need to be created with its own qualities? So all these qualities cannot be originated from matter at all. My consciousness, my feelings cannot be originated from my cells. They have completely different nature. One of them is matter, the other one is conscious qualities, has nothing to do with it. So it demonstrates that somebody is giving existence to this piece of perfect arts and manifesting his qualities in it, because we cannot find the source for these qualities in matter. So we are free to choose which one makes sense, rationally confirmable. We have to think and decide. Thank you. So this first proof, for example, seems to be somehow nowadays is rejected. Yes, but method is the same. I have to apply the method to today's information. So update it. We need to update it because it is written in 1930s, 100 years ago. According to the technological availabilities, facilities that time, this was a good example, but not now. But I have to adapt it. Use the method, same method, question in the same way, and adapt it, inshallah.
Thank you, inshallah. So we cannot really jump to conclusions. That's one thing you said. So we have to use our reasoning, our feelings to get to the conclusion. So let's move on to the second proof. Come, look carefully at the things which adorn all these plains, fields, and dwellings. There are marks on each telling of that hidden one. Simply, each gives news of him like a seal or stamp. Look in front of our eyes. What does he make from 1 ounce of cotton? There's a footnote on this. This indicates a seed. For example, a poppy seed like an atom, the kernel of an apricot stone, and a tiny melon seed, produced from the treasury of mercy, woven leaves finer than broadcloth, flowers whiter than linen, and fruits sweeter than sugar and more delicate and delicious than sweets and conserves. And they offer them to us. See how many rolls of cloth, fine linen, and flowered material have come out of it, out of cotton. See how many sugared delights and round sweets are being made. If thousands of people like us were to clothe themselves in them and eat them, they would still be sufficient. And look, he has taken a handful of iron, water, earth, coal, copper, silver, and gold, and made some flesh out of them. Made some flesh out of them. This indicates the creation of animal bodies from the elements and living creatures from sperm. Look at that and see, O foolish one. These works are particular to such a one that all this land, together with all its parts, is under his miraculous power and is submissive to his every wish. So see whose power and whose will is operating in this universe. Yes, Brother Lee, go ahead.
Again, this paragraph reminded me that what DNA is using in order to produce the, for example, cotton, or another example, watermelon, melons that really very sweet and interesting. Anyways, transforms everything into a completely different being. For example, as the text says here, what was it? Iron, water, earth, coal, copper, silver, and gold, and made them a live being. Turn them. In order to use this material, the DNA has to use them, choose them while choosing. They have to measure them. And they have to know how much of it. What percentage of it must be iron, must be water, must be copper, all the materials or minerals. Which percentage? They have to know. But do they have this quality to know? Do they have the measurement that they can do? Do they have these kind of abilities? We have to think. When you really dissect, analyze what the DNA is made of, we find certain elements, matter. And we don't see any power in them, any knowledge, any will, especially will, power, knowledge. And also, why should they act? Then I have a purpose. Accordingly, I act to fulfill the purpose. Do they have a purpose? Why do they serve us? Each of them perfectly working, but millions of them, each perfect but different. Why? You cannot really explain that because of the environment. In the same environment, there are thousands of different animals and plants, thousands of them. In the same environment, in the same forest, how do they develop differently and each of them perfect? And they know what they are going to do. Impossible to really accept this idea. Matter will decide to become perfect. When they become perfect, they should stop. They should know that they are perfect now. Which kind of reasoning I don't understand. They are following. They say, but in the lab, they are acting like this. Yeah, if you put me in the lab, you will say I am acting as I do here in my life, but none of them is from me. I am given all these by someone else. I must be honest within myself in order to understand the truth, reality, what my reality is. I have to be honest.
Thank you, Brother Ali. All right, so we can move on to the third proof. Come, look at these.
There is a note.
Oh, there's a note. Let me see. Yes, so Suhail said there is nothing inherent in matter to necessitate the multitude of things we see in the environment, including ourselves. That's right. So we have to really ponder over each and everything. Would you like to speak, Suhail, or anything?
Assalamu alaikum. Just to briefly add to what Ali Mermer was saying, even this like sort of idea of plan, that's sort of a materialist when he talks about plan, or let's say, or DNA or order, with which those things represent. Even those things, you can't actually demonstrate them in matter themselves. For you know, like for example, the plan or in DNA, like where is it? It's just matter. So like a materialist, if he were true to being a materialist, he wouldn't even talk about plans, because plans are sort of abstraction, a human abstraction of the matter. It's something that looks beyond matter, or is sort of in a sense immaterial or behind matter. You know, it's you can't actually materially demonstrate a plan. It's a human abstraction of things. So, you know, consciousness is unavoidable. And then to ascribe consciousness to matter itself is again contradiction to being a materialist, because then are you a materialist or are you not a materialist? What are you? Because you can't actually demonstrate consciousness in and of itself, like materially speaking. So it's there, it's obvious, something that's behind matter. It's intuitively, rationally obvious, but you can't actually demonstrate it, physically speaking.
Thank you, Suhail. So, but we conclude about the source, the hidden one, whoever is changing all those things. Although the plan is there, but as you said, it's an abstraction, and nothing in matter shows that they have the qualities to bring anything into existence. All right, third proof. Come, look at these mobile works of art. Is referring to, this alludes to animals and humans, everything being a work of art. For since animals are tiny indexes of the world, and man is a miniature sample of the universe. Whatever there is in the world, a sample of it is in man. So each has been fashioned in such a way that it is simply a miniature sample of the huge palace. Fashioned in such a way it is simply a miniature sample of the huge palace. Whatever there is in the palace, it is found in these tiny mobile machines. Is it at all possible that someone other than the palace's maker could come and include the wondrous palace in a tiny machine? Also, is it at all possible that although he has included a whole world in a machine the size of a box, there could be anything in it that was purposeless or could be attributed to chance? That means that however many skillfully fashioned machines you can see, each is like a seal of that hidden one. However many skillfully fashioned machines you can see, each is like a seal of that hidden one. Rather, each is like a herald or proclamation. Through their tongues of disposition, they are saying, we are the art of one who can make this entire world of ours as easily and simply as he created us. So each and every being shares a lot of things in terms of their createdness, how they are fashioned in a way according to how the universe is. So there's a commonality in that sense. From out of dirt, so many other different kinds of fruits and vegetables are coming. The same dirt, and out of semen and liquid, many human beings and animals are coming, all with different unique features, but at the same time sharing the commonality. And each being contains, as we study them under a microscope or look into the details of how they are, we see a whole universe within themselves. An atom has a whole universe within itself. So all this shows to us whose art, whose creation, whose all these display of creation, this display of qualities belong to. They cannot be attributed to chance, or they cannot be without any purpose. All right. Any comments, additions, or should we move to the fourth? Brother Ali, go ahead, please.
If you don't say that, I'm just repeating, but I like the idea of this being a tiny mobile machine, but a miniature example of the huge palace. Huge palace is the universe. This is what we appreciate, how God describes himself as the Lord of the universe, Rabbul Alameen. Now, that is extremely important. If you ask, it is not a criticism of the culture, but reality is out there. If you ask an ordinary, good, sincere Muslim, can you tell me some of the names or qualities of God, sifat, let's call? They will mention many things, وجود قدم بقاء وحدانية مخالفة للحوادث قائم بنفسه. They are all right, correct, and semi-basar, again, feeling, action-wise, manifestations-wise of the Creator, all seeing, all hearing, etc. But it is not very common that Quran describes God as Rabbul Alameen. So significant. And now here, because it is important, this third proof, what it shows us, I can understand that especially in the existence of the living beings, I understand they are a miniature sample of the whole universe. So I have to admit, only the one who can hold on to this universe, who can own this universe, who can be the creator of this universe, can be the creator of a frog. I love them, they are so funny. And any being, because they are a miniature sample of it. So I cannot explain it away by saying that the material side is working by itself and making this frog. No, the material side should know all things in the universe. We cannot reduce the material side of a frog to only matter, because frog is a living being and it has perfect qualities. It knows what to eat, it knows how to protect yourself, it knows how to reproduce, it knows how to take care of its baby. Or these are nothing to do with matter. These are completely, it has life, and his cells are continuously changing, and they have to obey the one who employed them in the way they are created. They cannot have a choice. I don't know. Really, I wonder how they explain it. Nowadays, what is attracting my attention among the people who claim that they don't believe in religion anymore, they don't believe in God anymore, etc. These kind of claims. I listen to them. I see that they are criticizing religion just because of some historical things happened in the Muslim world. And their observation of the people who call themselves Muslim like me, not representing what Islam is exactly, And they say, look at these people, as the Quran says, but they deny, but I know why they deny. Because what they say, obvious, I know what is obvious, what is hidden, and what you hide, what you say it, or openly declare. For example, لا جرم أن الله يعلم ما يخفون وما يعلنون. Whatever you declare openly, whatever you hide, I know. But interesting, for example, this verse says, every verse has its own context. This verse says, إنه لا يحب المستكبرين. The denier not comes from the rational reasoning, comes from arrogance. That attracts my attention so much. We have to pay attention to why people deny. They don't want to identify themselves as a religious being, religious person, because religion is now disregarded in the society, not respected in the society, in the civilization. Everybody is crazy about social status, financial status, political status. That everybody's value is this, how famous you are, and how rich you are. They think that the source of satisfaction is material availability. So if you are materially powerful, you are happy. That's what they describe happiness. And religion, no one says, as the Quran says, the more conscious of God you are, the best human being you are. They say the richer, the famous, more successful, self-confidence, everything is upside down. We have to be careful. These people's reasoning has a background motivation behind it. We should never forget that. That is why I feel, look, there is a reason, there is a reason, there is a reason. Don't hide. What do you think you are? How do you explain yourself? Do you really think that you don't need a source of existence you developed accidentally, no value at all? Do you think that? We have to help them understand, face their reality, inshallah. Otherwise, there is no need to argue whether really a natural development is happening, evolution is happening by itself. We can talk about it, but fundamental reason is what they are hiding in their heart. That's why Quran makes it so clear. I know what you are hiding, what you are claiming. You said, oh, this religion doesn't make sense to me, etc., etc. But God says, I know you are arrogant. That's what you are really saying. I'm not going to believe like those, as the Quran says, sufaha, enu'minu kama amana sufaha. Come on. These ignorant people, the people in the mosques, in the churches are just poor guys. They don't know how the universe and words and nature works. That's why they think God is making it. No, the universe itself is operating by itself. Thank you. But Suhail wrote something again.
Thank you. Suhail, go ahead.
Yeah, just just briefly, me as Ali was saying, the Quran clearly explains it, and I don't think with all due respect, any sort of religious tradition or scripture, I don't think any other thing clearly explains it um, to the degree that Islam does or the Quran does, and um, I think when sort of materialists or atheists come up with these sort of explanations, um, they like think they know what they're actually saying and how untrue it is, but also that their challenge, I guess, is towards maybe Christianity primarily rather than Islam. But unfortunately, I think Muslims have sort of imbibed or sort of taken on the sort of Christian worldview and just believe, or like I cannot tell you how many Muslims I have met who say, "Oh yeah, it's at some point it's a leap of faith, or you just have to believe," or nonsense like that. And you know, unlike how Nursi presents it, but because I think if Muslims actually understood what the Quran was saying, could easily challenge all of these sort of confusions being presented in mainstream society.
Correct. Yeah, thank you. Brother Ali, go ahead.
Yeah, that what Suhail said reminded me. It was important. I don't really buy into conspiracy theories, but I feel about two things are so real. One is science despotism nowadays. That is so obvious. They don't let anyone to write anything and make the research, and the research is valuable, demonstrates that he's an eligible person in the field as a scientist, qualified scientist, but saying we cannot explain it by attributing it to matter only. Even they don't say God. They just say, has to say, or they may say, I don't know, we cannot explain. It seems to be matter is the source of this action. Matter is the source of consciousness. I'm a bit doubtful. Even they cannot say this, and they don't publish this. This is so obvious. There's nothing to do with conspiracy. That is the reality everybody knows. And what is going on in the world? I have, as you may have, many friends who's doing valuable research and publishing their papers in the journals. They cannot use this language. They say, if I use it, it wouldn't be published. If I don't have any published paper, I cannot really promote my position. And I have to be slave as I have been. So I have to do something that is the conditions of this century or this world. So it is so real. It's not conspiracy. But the other one seems to be conspiracy. But I feel that, using the benefit of doubt, it may not be conspiracy theory. It may be real. Some politicians, policy makers, logisticians, don't think, I'm sure none of you are so naive, believing that these politicians who says, I am the president of America, is really ruling America, according to his understanding. I mean, it is just a dream. There are logicians behind it. And even they may speak, but they cannot apply it. Some politicians may be challenging character. They speak, but they cannot do it because there is something going on. behind the screen. That is why we have to know that politicians are just puppets in the hands of certain families, certain groups of people, lobbies. Now they have to follow the lobbies. They are simple people, actually. The politicians are the very simple people. They are talented by simple people as a human being. I mean, a person, an honorable person cannot be a politician because they have to beg for votes of others, present themselves in many ways to satisfy the voters. That is very simplistic, man. But anyway, some people take it as a profession. That's up to them. It is not for me. So these people are very, very aware that Christianity and Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism, never, Buddhism, Hinduism, never challenge scientific claim, all the claims presented to the people as a scientific explanation of the things, how the things are happening. But they should know, Quran is crazy about demonstrating matter as an evidence to its belief system that he is introducing, basing the belief on very material existence of the things. Look at the mountain, look at the clouds, look at the birds above you, and think about it. Do they have the power to create? أفمن يخلق كمن لا يخلق وهم يخلقون. So it is another thing. والذين يدعون من دون الله لا يخلقون شيئا وهم يخلقون. It's very challenging. They cannot create anything. They need to be created. So obvious language, so clear, simple language. Even the very, very beginner of Arabic language learner can understand it. Yeah, thank you. This you are sharing the. There are many. There are many. This argument is in the Quran everywhere, especially pointing to the creationist. All belief matters are, or related to belief in God particularly, are just really, really established over this argument, simple argument. They cannot create, they cannot operate by themselves, they need to be given existence. How can you say that, for example, in Ibrahim, the Prophet Abraham's example in the Quran, they don't hear you, they don't give you any benefit, they can really harm you, they themselves, they are subject to order, they don't have any free will. It means we have to understand that every living being a miniature example of the universe. So we have to learn that Quran fundamentally presents God as the Rabbul Alamin. It is so precious, priceless. Rabbul Alamin. You don't have to memorize 99 names in the narration of the hadith and say that there is no Rabbul Alamin in it. That is so simplistic. Quran is full of Rabbul Alamin. What do you mean by there is no Rabbul Alamin in the 99 names narrated in the hadith, which is the collection of some hadith narrations and made them in it's a good work. It's a good work. all the prophets and the Quranic words used, but unfortunately, I don't remember seeing Rabbul Alameen among them. But it doesn't mean that it is not Esma-ul Husna. It is most fundamentally Esma-ul Husna, because only through understanding that Rabbul Alameen can be the creature of an let's say, virus, just a virus, because it is acting in this world and connection with the human body and with the, I would say, reproducing themselves in such a wonderful way, and even kills the human being. But its function is this. It's so talented, much more talented than human beings. How can you reduce it to matter only? It is biological construction as the parts of its being. It doesn't know how the human beings work. Human body works, but he knows how to get a place there and use human body as his food and reproduct, and at the end, kills human being because he finishes dysfunctions human beings' organs. How wonderful creature they are. How can you reduce it to material components? It's material compounds. I mean, that's why we have to see this. It is simply a miniature sample of the huge palace, Rabbul Alameen. That is what, and I'm repeating myself, but there is no need to repeat. Okay, thank you. You understand, you are intelligent, more intelligent than I am.
Alhamdulillah, thank you. So let's see. The fourth proof. Oh, my stubborn friend. Suhail, go ahead before we go there.
Just want to say one thing. To Ali Merva's point about conspiracies, yeah, I think it was like when Nursi, he wrote this book, I believe it was, I forget, some British politician or bureaucrat had said we need to take away the Quran from the Muslims. I think it was something like that. I can't remember exactly. And then it was in a paper, and I think that's where somebody had showed it to him. And he said that, I'm going to demonstrate that the Quran is an inexhaustible sun. And I think, yeah, I'm personally convinced that, especially secular civilization, honestly, you could say maybe 100 years ago was Western society, but even sort of in these sort of quote unquote Muslim countries, they would want nothing to do with Islam because it too much challenges sort of established order of society. And so, because to hand over dominion or power and will to God rather than to the state, or how the state uses science to sort of impose its will, it's too undermining to their authority. So I personally believe that. Unfortunately, I don't think the vast majority of Muslims understand that.
Brother Ali, go ahead.
Now, the time is up, but very quickly. There is a public speaker who's famous in America, in the United States. Anyways, but I don't like mentioning the names. That's why I'm not telling. It is not my readings. Also, I heard from him. The British, when colonized India, they, of course, the Indians, Muslims were still climbing up the minarets and shouting Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And a soldier or somebody below the general, whoever is the commander of that army there, said to the commander, why do we let them, since everything is under our power, why do we let them shout their religious chantings according to them? Just we should prohibit it. The commander-in-chief was much more clever than this stupid lieutenant or whoever she did, or major, or however I call it, this person, lower than him. He said, let them do it. They don't know what it means. That is very real. They don't know what they are doing, what they are reading, what they are reciting. They don't know. So one thing. Another thing is, as Suhail referred to the author of this book, Nursi, he was young. In early 19th century, around 1200, not 1200, around 1912, 1910, 1920, or somewhere there. And this, the Minister of Colonies made a speech in the Parliament, British Parliament, and said, because Muslims started rebelling here and there, especially towards the end of 1915 or somewhere 10 and 15, Muslims, the people, realized that they are enslaved. That is very important, not to be under the influence of this enslavement, colonization. I can see very, very much in the psychology of these people there. So we have to be very careful. We shouldn't feel inferiority complex under the influence of inferiority complex. That's what I understand the word that said. Feel free. Don't try to imitate these stupid people. So that this man declared, and the newspapers wrote it, and the author read it. He said, in the parliament, I don't know whether it is really recorded in the parliament recording. It is worth really investigating and finding out there. Even he gives the name. I don't keep the names in my mind. I don't remember the names. The minister, this colonies, the minister of colonies, or the state representative of colonies, something like that. In the British system, they call it ministries. He said, if we want to overcome Muslim world, we have to take the Quran away from them. That is what's going on in the world. Still the same policy. Quran, of course, superficially during Ramadan, people read it. Good. Innocent people read it. I appreciate them. I don't see that they are worse than, no. But intelligent people have to take studying the Quran seriously. Otherwise, Quran is away from us, as the Quran says. You have sent me away, the Muslim community. The Quran will complain. Oh, the Prophet will complain. Oh, God. The people, the Muslim people, or the Quran, they sent the Quran away, completely away, irrelevant to my life. Everybody is crazy about having a worldly future, guaranteed, profession. But religion, yeah. How? Memorizing the Quran, learning how to read, and fiqh rules. Okay, go ahead. You cannot save your belief under the attack of secular education system by memorizing the Quran, by learning how to read the Quran, by all learning the all four madhab rules, you cannot save your belief in anything. You are under the attack of, your belief is under attack. How can you defend? Nothing. Nothing. No one is really teaching belief. How many people, how many books, publishings, or videos really arguing why we believe in what we believe? Just we say, we believe the Quran is the best. Quran is our sacred book. This rhetorics, sloganic rhetorics can never, ever save us. We have to know it. I know the time is up. Thank you very much. I have to shut up here.
Jazakallah, thank you so much. Very beautiful discussion. We will stop here. We will continue next time, inshallah, with the fourth proof. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma alamtana innaka anta al-alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Umat Surat al-Fatiha.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you all. Assalamu alaikum.